Thank you, Mark. It's not, of course, just about new materials. We've got plenty of materials already out there. What do we do with them? Here's a great idea about that. Please welcome from the Global Sustainability Leader at Dow, Jeff Wooster.
Thank you, everybody. It's great to be here today. It's great to talk now, instead of about the biological loop for things, the technical loop for things. So I'm going to talk about some technical resources that we want to keep in use, keep as part of the circular economy. And I'll tell you about a collaboration program that we've really undertaken in order to help us do this. So some of the themes that you've been hearing about all day today, you'll hear about again. But the idea is brand new, and I hope you enjoy it. So, what is the energy bag? By a show of hands, how many have heard of the energy bag already? Fair number, that's good, and you're probably all my friends, and all of you who haven't heard, I hope will be my friends after you hear more about it. What is it? Well, it's a purple bag, but more important than the color is what it represents. And what it represents is a new way of thinking about how we manage our resources, and I don't like to use the word waste, so I'll use the word resources, how we manage our resources, what we do with those resources, how we capture value from those resources and take advantage of the inherent benefits and the inherent value that they have available to us. It's a way to keep materials out of the landfill, which I think we all can agree is a good thing to do. It's really a change in the way that we think about recovery, and it's a blueprint for the future. And if I think about the kind of change that this little purple bag has brought about in the last few months, it's really amazing to me, and I hope you like the story today. So, our vision is a more circular economy. Some people think circular economy means everything goes into the loop and it stays in the loop forever, but that would be my father's garage. For us, circular economy means that we take as much advantage as we can of the resources that we have available to us, the resources that we've spent our time and our energy and our money creating, and that we make the best use for those as possible. I work in the plastic packaging space. In plastic packaging, our vision is that everything goes out of the garbage bin, seen at the left of your photo, and it goes into the recycle bin, where it's either mechanically recycled into new items like plastic bottles or plastic bags or wood plastic composites or other plastic items. And if it can't be mechanically recycled, then we still recover the value from it by turning it into a usable energy resource. We need energy. We don't have enough renewable energy to meet the demands of our society, so we still need to find different ways of capturing energy. And capturing energy from non-recycled materials in a fashion that's complementary to mechanical recycling is one way that we can get more energy for our economy. We ask consumers what they like about sustainability, what they like about packaging. We do a lot of work to understand what consumers want and what consumers need. We also try to make sure that when we bring solutions to the consumers, that those solutions make scientific sense. When we ask consumers what is important about packaging, the number one thing that they say is that it keeps their product fresh, if it's a food product. And to me, this is very reassuring. It tells me that consumers understand the value of packaging and why it's there in the first place. Even if they can't articulate those benefits in a more specific way, they know that they want to keep their food fresh. But when it comes to specific sustainability attributes that they attribute to the packaging, recycling is number one on the list. I don't think this comes as a surprise to anybody in the audience. We all know that consumers like recycling. So we need to find a solution that provides technical benefits, that meets the scientific criteria that we have set forward for a more circular economy, and also gives us something useful and something that's economically viable as well as being environmentally beneficial. That's how we came up with the energy bag. So we have to remember to do this, though, in the context of the whole life cycle of our products. Here's an example of a life cycle for our product. What I'd like to point out about this is just the reminder that things are coming into the life cycle and going out of the life cycle at all points around the loop. So at each phase of a product's use, we're adding energy, we're adding resources, we're adding labor, we're adding people's time and investment, and we're taking things off. So we're using resources out of the loop, we're creating waste that needs to be disposed of. When we get to the end of the product's life cycle, and it's not, as Bill said earlier, it's not the end of life, it's the end of use, right? When we get to the end of use, some of what we have left can stay on the loop, and some of it needs to go somewhere else. And it's important to remember that that somewhere else needs to be somewhere as useful as it possibly can be. And so I want you to think about that as I talk about what we're going to do with our energy bag program. So the energy bag pilot program was a collaboration of many different organizations and companies, Dow along with the Flexible Packaging Association, the American Chemistry Council, Republic Services, the city of Citrus Heights, California, a suburb of Sacramento, Republic Services, who's the recycler, and Agilex Corporation, who provided the pyrolysis plant that was used. These companies came together to create this program and impact a community for 3 months so that we could learn and understand what are some better ways to handle these resources, what's the best way to capture the value from these materials and keep it in the loop. Basically and simply, we asked the residents of the community of Citrus Heights to take their non-recyclable or currently non-recyclable plastic items, put them into their purple energy bag, tie those bags up every other week and put them in their recycle bin where they could be collected, sent to the Republic Services facility for sorting, and then from there sent on to the Agilex facility where they were processed by pyrolysis to make into a synthetic crude oil sent to a refinery to be made into fuel. So it's a fairly simple operation, yet it involves many steps and many different people. And we had a lot of people tell us that it couldn't possibly be done. That consumers couldn't possibly put the right things in the bags, that we couldn't possibly pick up the bags and send them to the recovery facility for sorting, and that we wouldn't be able to turn them into plastics when we were done. I'm happy to be able to tell you that we were able to do all those things. Here's some of the informational materials that we shared with people as we went along throughout the trial. And we had a few slogans to help people remember what to do with the program. So one example of a little saying that we came up with for people was, if you don't bin it, bag it. That means if it's not an item that can normally be put into your recycle bin, and it's a plastic item, it now goes into your energy bag. If you don't bin it, bag it. Very simple and easy to remember. We gave detailed instructions of all different kinds of items that could be put into the bin, or into the bag rather. You'll see those listed on the left of the screen. We talked about the energy potential. How much energy could we capture if every resident of the community put all their non-recycled items into the bag and we collected them and turned them into oil? And we talked about what the value to society would be. So we tried to provide a variety of messages to help people understand the value of the program. What's important in terms of the energy content is that for every 13 bags of energy we collect, we can make the equivalent of 1 gallon of fuel. So an average household might collect 1 bag every other week. It takes 26 weeks to collect 13 bags. So in a year, they can create enough energy that's the equivalent of 2 gallons of gasoline. Now, this might not seem like a lot. The reason for that is that plastics is a lightweight material, and it's pretty efficient. So when you make packages out of plastic in the first place, you don't have to use very much of it. Just because we don't have to use very much doesn't mean that we shouldn't be responsible for making sure people have something valuable to do with it when they're done with it. So when it's time for that next life of the product, we want to make sure that people have an option, and they have a good option for what they can do with that material, and we think the energy bag is a good example of what they can do with it. So some of the key results, we found that the residents of the community, in fact, were able to follow the instructions, that they were able to put their non-recycled plastics, both packaging and other items, things like serviceware, so forks and spoons and knives, into the bags, that they were willing to put those bags into their bins, as shown in the photograph on the left, that we could take that to the material recovery facility at Newbie Island, and we could separate it from the other recyclables. One reason we used a purple bag was to make it bright and stand out on the processing line, and thanks to Joel for wearing his purple shirt today. Did anybody notice his purple shirt today? I thought it was great. We could take that product, we could chop it, put it into the pyrolysis plant at Agilex, and we could make it into synthetic crude oil. So all those things were successful. We would like to be able to get a higher level of participation the next time we do a program, but we learned a lot of important things from the program. For full results, you can find a 20-minute, approximately, documentary video, which our video folks have prepared for us, available at dow.com/energybag. So we've tried to make this as simple as we possibly can for you to find the information. We also have a detailed, comprehensive technical report that talks about all the details of the program. It talks about all the things that we learned. It talks about the things we might do differently. It talks about the benefits and the value of taking non-recycled plastic material, converting them into a usable energy resource, keeping them out of the landfill, and instead of having waste, now having something of value. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I invite you to go online.
Great. Thank you so much.